Hello and welcome to another part of my zombie survival guide. Sorry for the longer absence, I had barely enough time to keep my first channel supplied with at least one video a week, but anyway, on today's episode we will take a closer look at places to survive the zombie apocalypse. Islands of peace in an ocean of anguish. And the first place we will take a closer look at are castles. Fortifications built during a time where chivalry was not dead but your kids were. Because of the bubonic plague. Better times. Anyway, during this lovely period man built essentially miniature mountains out of stone, and these fantastic fortifications did not only give rise to r/trebuchet and the off-brand, it would also be one of the safest places during any zombie apocalypse. Because protecting against large invading armies was the very thing they were built to achieve. Castles were often built on top of a hill, had a moat, high walls, with many spots for archers, gunners. And that one guy that turned throwing stones at ducks at the park into a career. Yes, back in the day any asshole could become a professional asshole. Today all you can do is yell at minimum wage clerks. Anyway, back to topic. Most castles and medieval fortifications had also redundant structures, so even if one wall was breached, you're now standing in a gatehouse, where death will rain upon you. And while humans could build shields, trebuchets, or siege towers, zombies can't. To put it simple, a large dumb zombie horde would be the dream of any defender. Unless you decide to face them in open field battle so that they can bring their numerical superiority to bear. But hey, you could always retreat behind this tiny ass fence in front of the giant stone wall. You could have set ablaze by burning the scripts of season 8, but again I slightly digress. The far bigger problem any survivors would face would be the supply, and in general keeping your group together. Because most castles were closer to bunkers than to places from fairy tales. It would be tight, loud, smelly, and overall unpleasant. You're essentially trapped in permanent public commute. So infighting and unrest in your group might become a serious problem. And as mentioned, the other major challenge you would face would be sufficient food. While you always could collect rainwater, or clean the water from the moat, or simply picking a castle at a lake, the internal area of a castle suited for farming is way too small. You could keep around some chickens and maybe some insects that devour the leftovers and in turn serve as a source of protein, but the majority of food will have to come from the outside. So while you are still well defended, you are basically forced to go outside from time to time in order to gather supplies. But hey, that's a problem many of us are facing on a daily basis, so the survivors might eventually find a way to deal with it. And you might also think about a process where outsiders can join your group in order to replace the occasional loss. After all, this is a zombie apocalypse. And what I'm essentially saying is that while Europe has many great anti-zombie strongholds, America has nothing. Except a lot of guns. Over and out.